Every species on Earth spent millions of years fitting perfectly into this planet. Fish grew gills to breathe underwater, birds got hollow bones to fly, polar bears got thick fur to survive brutal sub-zero cold. And humans? We get burned by our own sun. Our spines crack and ache the older we get. And giving birth, for humans, is one of the most dangerous things a mammal can do. So here's the question. If this is really our home, why does the human body look like it was assembled from the wrong blueprint? Our skin can't handle our own sun. Look around. Lizards bake in the sun all day. No problem. Dogs, cats, horses, elephants. They've lived under this exact same sun their whole existence. No protection needed. Their fur, scales, and pigment are already dialed in for this star. Humans? We had to invent an entire chemical product just to walk outside. Otherwise, we get sunburned, or worse, skin cancer. Out of every species on this planet, we're the only one that needs a chemical shield to survive the natural sunlight of our own home. Sounds a little backwards, right? The spine, an upgrade that never finished. 80% of humans will deal with chronic back pain at some point. 4 out of 5 people. And when most of an entire species shares the exact same flaw, the problem isn't the individual, it's the blueprint. Our spine was built for a body that walked on 4 legs, then got forced upright. The discs between our vertebrae are absorbing gravity in a way they were never designed to handle. Meanwhile, kangaroos and ostriches, also bipedal, never deal with this because their bodies evolved to stand upright from the start. Ours got retrofitted halfway through. Basically, our spine is a beta version that never got its patch. Childbirth, a life or death gamble. No other mammal on Earth gives birth as dangerously as humans do. A baby's head barely fits, sometimes doesn't fit, through the mother's birth canal. Before modern medicine, childbirth was one of the leading causes of death for women throughout basically all of human history. A horse gives birth in about 30 minutes, and the foal is standing and running within an hour. A human newborn can't even hold its own head up for months. We enter this world more helpless than any other species that's ever existed. Our immune system turns on us. The immune system has one job: protect the body. But in humans, it constantly misfires, attacking completely harmless things like pollen, peanuts, dust, cat hair, shellfish. About 30% of the world's population is allergic to something. Think about that. Either evolution made a pretty serious mistake, or this body was calibrated for a completely different environment than the one it's living in now. The only species that knows it's going to die. But the strangest evidence isn't in the body, it's in the mind. No other species on Earth is aware that it's going to die. Dogs don't lie awake wondering what happens after. Dolphins don't have existential crises at 3 a.m. Elephants didn't build religions to cope with the fear of their own mortality. Humans did. All of us. We built temples, wrote entire philosophies, shaped whole civilizations around one question: what happens when I stop existing? From a pure survival standpoint, this awareness gives us nothing. It just brings suffering, war, and sleepless nights. It's exactly the kind of trait you'd expect from a creature that's out of place. Aware enough to sense something's wrong, but never quite able to name it. The only species that breaks the loop. Every species on this planet exists in balance with its ecosystem. Predators control prey. Prey controls plant life. Decomposers recycle nutrients back into the soil. A closed loop? Everyone has a role. Except us. We cut down forests, poison rivers, pump greenhouse gases into the atmosphere at a rate never seen before, and we've pushed thousands of species to the edge of extinction. We're not participating in Earth's ecosystem. We're taking it apart piece by piece. And honestly, that's exactly what you'd expect from an invasive species. Something dropped onto a planet it was never actually designed for. A theory from the man who cracked DNA. So if we really don't belong here, where did we come from? In 1973, Francis Crick, the man who won the Nobel Prize in 1962 for decoding the structure of DNA, one of the most important scientists in history, along with chemist Leslie Orgel, published a theory that shook the scientific world: directed panspermia. The idea? Life on Earth didn't originate here at all. It was deliberately seeded by an intelligent civilization from somewhere else in the galaxy. And the evidence behind this isn't exactly flimsy. Life appeared on Earth about 3.8 billion years ago, just 700 million years after the planet formed, while it was still getting pummeled by asteroids and had barely cooled from a molten state. On a geological timescale, that's basically the planet cooled down and life showed up the next day. Then there's the Murchison meteorite. It crashed in Australia in 1969. When scientists cracked it open, they found over 90 different amino acids inside, the building blocks of life. And some of them were an exact match to amino acids found in every living thing on Earth. We also know for a fact that life can survive in space. Tardigrades, tiny eight-legged creatures that look like microscopic gummy bears, have been blasted with the vacuum of space, cosmic radiation, and temperatures near absolute zero. And they survived. In 2019, an Israeli spacecraft carrying tardigrades crash-landed on the moon. Many scientists believe some of them could still be alive up there, right now, while you're watching this. But mainstream science has a different answer. Here's where it gets messier. Because mainstream biology already has a pretty solid explanation for almost everything weird about us. It's called evolutionary mismatch. And honestly, it might be even more interesting than the alien theory. Humans only started walking fully upright about 6 million years ago. Sounds like a long time, but on evolution's timescale, that's barely a blink. Nowhere near enough time to fully patch the spine. Losing most of our body hair is believed to be a cooling upgrade, from back when our ancestors left the forest for the open savanna and needed to sweat efficiently to chase prey for hours under brutal heat. The trade-off for that ability is the sunburn-prone skin we're stuck with now. Dangerous childbirth comes down to something called the obstetrical dilemma. Human brains started growing bigger, faster than the pelvis could evolve to keep up. And even our environmental destruction has a fairly reasonable explanation. Our brains are wired for short-term survival in small groups on the savanna, not for managing an entire planet. But one thing still doesn't add up: the speed. Still, there's one thing evolutionary biology hasn't fully explained: the speed. In 4 billion years of life on Earth, no other species has ever done what humans just did. Dolphins have existed for about 50 million years, intelligent, socially complex, and never built a single tool. Chimpanzees have been using sticks to fish for termites for about 4 million years, and there's barely been an update since. Humans? From sharpened rocks to nuclear weapons in about 2 million years. From fire to the International Space Station. 200 years ago, railroads didn't exist. 125 years ago, airplanes didn't exist. 35 years ago, the internet didn't exist. Nothing in the entire history of life has ever accelerated like that. Some say it's language. Some say it's cooking food, which freed up more energy for the brain to grow. Some point to a mutation in the FOXP2 gene, linked to complex speech. All of it sounds partially right, but none of it fully explains why the speed was that extreme. We're probably not aliens. The evolutionary evidence is strong enough to explain almost everything unusual about us, but almost certain is not the same as certain. And when one of the greatest scientists in history looks at the evidence and says, something here doesn't add up, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's science doing exactly what it's supposed to do, asking the hard questions, and honestly admitting when the answer isn't clean. If we really do belong on this planet, then we're the strangest thing it ever created. And if we don't, maybe we've been quietly trying to find our way home for 200,000 years without even realizing it. So what do you think? Are we a product of Earth, or something that ended up in the wrong place? Drop your take in the comments. And if you're into questions like this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.